So this is June 21st, and this is our fifth session talking about Celtic Christianity, St. Luke's Church in Anchorage. And this is just a summary. This is our fifth session and final session. So, you know, some of the things we talked about, the history of the Celtic people and some of the prominent saints from the, what we call the golden age of Celtic Christianity, roughly 4th through 8th century. Looked at illuminated texts and what a lot of great topics actually. Soul friends and thin places, and talked about a variety of saints. At any rate, we're now to the last one, and we're talking about Saint David, which works out well because my next lecture series is on pilgrimages, and I'm going to start with a pilgrimage to Saint David's. And actually, when I developed the next course, I learned a lot more about him. So I have more to say about him when we start the next course. Saint David is the patron saint of Wales.
I didn't know that.
Yep, he is. In Welsh, he's known as Dewy Saint, which means drinker of water, because he was known for drinking nothing but water.
That doesn't go down well with the Welsh. They drink nothing but beer.
Maybe that's why they noticed that he stood out as being odd. So what's wrong with this guy? So he was a monk, and he was an abbot and a bishop, and eventually the Archbishop of Wales. Now, there's debate about how long. We know his birth and death within a few years. Most sources say he was born in year 500. Many sources say he lived to 100 years. Some say 101. At any rate, he was born in or around the year 500. He was a grandson of a local king, of a pagan king. Legend has it he was born in this field during a fierce storm. They actually built a chapel where he was born. His mother was later sainted. Her name was Non. And supposedly on top of this cliff top, there was actually a small chapel there for many years, and you see that's actually in ruins too. And there's said to be a holy well nearby that has healing powers. So Saint David became a renowned preacher and built a lot of monasteries and churches in Wales and Brittany and southwest England. So the southwest corner of England is where David had his most influence and established the church in a presence much stronger than it was before, converting a lot of pagans. He founded a monastery at Glenroshan on the banks of the River Allen, and that monastery is now where the city of David is and his cathedral is. He died on March 1st, so that's St. David's Day, in 589 or 600, depending on which source you read, or 601. So somewhere around then he died, but we all agree it is March 1st, and he was buried at the cathedral. And his shrine became a popular place of pilgrimage throughout the Middle Ages. His famous last words the Sunday before he died was in a sermon: "Be joyful, keep the faith, and do the little things that you have heard and seen me do." And that is still a Welsh saying. There it is in the Gaelic Welsh language. Gwynnish e pathaw bechan moon bud. Do the little things in life. That's kind of a Welsh maxim. Now, there's a story about, I don't know if any of you know it, but leeks are considered a symbol of Wales. And that's because there's a legend, there's of course always legends, right? That there was this battle where they were fighting the Saxons, and their Saxon uniforms and the Welsh uniforms looked so alike they couldn't tell the difference. And St. David was out there in the fight, and he told all the soldiers that leeks were growing wild around on in the field they were fighting. to grab a leek and put it in your hat so you could recognize your own kind. And so that became a symbol for Wales. The Welsh word for leek is senhin, and the Welsh word for daffodil is senhin Peter, which is actually Peter's leek. But because these words are so similar that through the centuries, daffodil also became a symbol for Wales. So if you ever see people wearing leeks in their hat or daffodils in their hat, that's a symbol of Wales, and they still do that. In celebration of St. David's Day, you'll see people wearing costumes, wearing those things in your hat. One thing I picked up and looking all this stuff up is the nickname Taffy, which I never heard of. Peter, have you ever heard of Taffy as a nickname for Welsh?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that derives from the Welsh word Daffyd, which is Welsh for David. And it sounds like taffy. So, I mean, it's a linguistic derivation. And I had never heard of that. I had never heard of calling Welshmen taffy. But it is, again, because St. David is so strongly associated with the Welsh identity. He is the ultimate patron saint of Wales and strongly identified with Wales. And so I guess the Welsh word daffyd becomes taffy, becomes a nickname for Welsh people. And they do a celebration on St. David's Day since the 12th century. And they have these things that look absolutely delicious that I would love to try. Welsh fruited bread, Bach, which is a Welsh cake. And you see some national costume of people wearing daffodils. And I've actually seen, even in the military, the Welsh brigade will have little leek symbols in their hats. So it's still a culturally relevant thing in Wales. It's still recognized as a symbol. Yeah, I wish I put them in this lecture, but I even seen like people in rugby matches and soccer or football games, people wearing giant daffodils or leek hats, symbolizing that they're Welsh. So this is a summary of the Celtic class that we've talked about, and things that I've seen in looking through the Celtic Christianity, the themes of Celtic Christianity, throughout the writings and prayers that we receive from the Celtic tradition. Life is known as a blessing and a gift. They come from the Holy One whose essence is infinite goodness. In our daily lives, we are surrounded by that goodness. In our deepest soul, that goodness dwells within us and separately tying us to the God we know in Jesus. This is from one of the books that I read on it. This blessing we receive is an eternal reality. It is not a matter of quantifiable possessions or material wealth. This is the blessing of our very being, of our true identity. And finally, the journey prayer. God bless me to this day. God bless me in this night. Bless, oh bless, thou God of grace, each day and hour of my life. Bless, oh bless, thou God of grace, each day and hour of my life. God bless the pathway on which I go. God bless the earth that is beneath my soul. Bless, O God, and give to me thy love. O God of gods, bless my rest and my repose. Bless, O God, and give to me thy love. And bless, O God of gods, my repose. And that is how I leave you with the end of the Celtic Christianity talk. I have found it to be very interesting in studying this and looking things up and learning about it. And I think there's a deep spirituality there that we as Episcopalians and Anglicans in the Anglican Communion share, that richness and depth and history of the Celtic Church. I think that's a part of who we are. And I'm glad that we celebrate that and honor that.
Yes.
Very fascinating, David, the whole series. It really was. I've learned
Yeah.
quite
Well, thanks, David. I thought so too. I was really intrigued by the whole thing. And I think there's probably a lot more that I don't know and haven't discovered that could make it even better talk, even more insights. So it's an interesting topic.
Yeah. The closeness with the natural world in those days is something that maybe in this day and age, with all our pollution and everything else, we need to make sure we wholeheartedly embrace.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. And it's certainly one of their strong themes too, as conservationists, the stewardship of the planet we've been given to live on. It's definitely one of their core themes. And equality of men and women was another strong theme I found over and over again. All right, well, thank you all for participating. I'm going to stop this recording, and we might as well start the next topic. Let's see.